I
Yes.
think so.
Rod, Andrew Butt will be speaking for track tonight, not me.
Okay. And this is regarding the pumping station located at the corner of Dornan Drive and Brickyard Cove Drive, as far as I'm aware. Is that correct, everyone? And Marcia is the landscape architect under contract with Veolia, is it, or
With the city of Richmond.
City of Richmond? And the issues raised tonight are really for us to voice our opinions and give guidance to Marcia and to discuss, what we want to see going forward on this particular site, both landscaping and any other physical attributes of the building itself. And Jonathan, iPhone number 2, do you want to have anything to say right now?
Yeah, hi, welcome everybody. Thanks, Marcia. It's Jonathan here en route. This has been going on for a while. And Lena Velasco, I agreed to meet me out there and strongly encouraged her to hire Marcia to help take the pump station, which really didn't get any public input at all in the design, and try to put some lipstick on it. And there are a lot of issues. The generator sticks 4 feet plus above the wall. It's going to be really hard to screen it, but we have pretty much the best person to help us with Marcia that we could possibly get. She just needs our input on what our issues might be. And then we also have been trying to get an accounting from Veolia on how much is left on the contract in terms of there was a 15 or some percent contingency fund in the contract to handle unforeseen things, which is pretty normal in contracts. And we've tried to find out how much money we have to work with, but I have not received anything yet. Marcia may know, but I think I put in 3 requests to the city to find out what's left, and currently we don't know. It'd be good to find that out. And there's some regarding how much money we have left. If we have a lot of money, then I don't think we have any issues with track. If we have limited funds, then we have to discuss how those might be distributed out between track's need for continuous trail and the community's need to screen that ugly mess that's been created by a city that didn't really have their eyes open. So really, that's all I have to say to start. And thanks, Rod, and thank you, Marcia.
I said, and thank whoever set up the Zoom meeting. I don't know if that was Marcia or Alicia or it was. Thank you very much. And the Land Use Design Review Committee is hosting this, but as a vehicle for Point Richmond Neighborhood Council. And, we were not approached with any activity on that pumping station. The city just ran it on their own. So it's an after the fact thing. I'm going to bring in Andrew Butt if you're able to speak to this, Andrew, on Bruce's behalf of where the track sits on this.
Yeah, sounds good, Rod. Thank you. And nice to see
you guys
everybody.
hold on for 1 second? One thing I'd like to do. Okay, so let me just take a little bit of a step back. So
Sure.
all of you know, my name's Marcia Vallier. With CSW. Our office is 121 Park Place. I'd like to welcome Council Member Zepeda to the meeting. Thank you so much for attending. What we're my aim tonight, before we really start digging in, is to listen to you and see, let you go ahead and talk a little bit about everything that you have issues with on this pump station, and then we'll try and solve as much as we can through the landscape. And the process, I've been hired by the city to come in and try and solve some of the issues of circulation and aesthetics. And the process that I've proposed to the city is this, that we have this first meeting to really talk about what's going on the site, what the issues are, you know, like you can't see, it's really terrible looking, the equipment, I know some of these issues, but then what I'd like to do is from the comments I hear this evening, I'll come back to you at the February Point Richmond Neighborhood Council meeting with some alternatives in one of your presentations. And I'm happy to go to the land use committee prior to that to get a little bit of feedback so that you all give your input on it, and then we'll hone it enough that we can then present the neighborhood, the greater neighborhood, plans on some ideas based on what we've heard tonight. And then after that meeting, I'll go back to my desk, I'll come up with a preferred alternative and return to your March meeting with the preferred alternative and draft construction drawings to show you where we're going to go with this. I want to make sure that the process is broad enough that we get really good input, but I want to make sure it's quick enough so that it doesn't sit there and look terrible for longer than it has to. And so that's my 2 cents. So I'm here to listen tonight. I do have, thank you, Jeff, for going out and taking some pictures so we could flash those on the screen this evening. And then I have the site plan, and I took an aerial photo and just put the drawings on top of it, so we'd have something to talk to. And I'm just going to take notes, and that's all I'm going to say at this point. So thanks for letting me butt in.
Thanks for butting in, Marcia. Anytime.
Andrew, before
And,
you speak, if you want, I think you should be able to share your screen if you need to. I also have those pictures that Jeff Vines went out and took tonight right before the sun went down.
Thank you. Yeah, what I did is I put them on a PDF so that we can flip through them kind of, looking this way. So I have those as well.
Okay,
If you'd
and then
like,
we do have one more PDF, Andrew, if you want to walk through that with track, which was the it's the vesting tentative map from the 2022 Laconia project, but the road position and the trail position is in the exact same location as it was in the approved final map for the 2016 Terminal 1 project. So I do have that if you or Marcia want that. So just let me know and I can show it.
so I've just put this up to show you what I have here that kind of explains in plan view. I'll stop share for now, but let me know if you want that or the site photos up. Okay.
Thanks, Marcia.
Yeah, thank you, Marcia. Those are both helpful, actually, graphically. So, well, first I want to say again, thanks for Caesar for being here. Thanks for those of you who set the meeting up. And I generally agree with, I think, what I've heard from the community and what Jonathan has relayed, that, this thing has some aesthetic issues and certainly needs to be spruced up and some landscaping done. But I think from a track standpoint, which is what I'm representing and speaking to today, and I went out there and met with the project team from the city and their consultants. It's been, gosh, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, and discussed, met with them, looked at the issues, talked about track's concern, which basically comes down to, this project has really mucked up the what's kind of a key entryway to the Bay Trail there. And I think track's really just interested in ensuring that before the project's closed out and they walk off, that there's a safe, primarily, first of all, safe, but secondly, that there's, a proper width, both of the Bay Trail and more importantly, the buffer between the trail and the roadway is restored, and that there's some, we talked about like a fencing or something like that, ideally not a K-rail put out there. And I think that Jonathan has brought up, and he may speak to a little bit more, and the plan that Lisa mentioned basically does show that there, when the previous approval twice now of the projects that were going at that Terminal 1 site were approved, they envisioned moving the Bay Trail over to the north side of the roadway, but south of where that pump station is going to be. And I think track's position is that's great, but that's also going to be a lot more money and a lot more complicated project to do. And so I think if there's money to do that, fine, great, track's in support of it. If there's not, track really would like to, again, for the benefit of the people using the Bay Trail, I was just driving by there today, and Curtis Clausen was walking, you know, in that exact area, and it's dangerous, it's sketchy. Not only does it not look good, but it's actually quite dangerous. So we really want to see that area restored, and we think that the easiest and least expensive way to do it is just to restore that section of trail that's already there to the south of the roadway. So that's kind of it. I don't know. Bruce just got out of having his pacemaker replaced, so he's not really feeling like speaking. But I think I've kind of covered the track concerns and our ask. And again, you know, this is not about track. This is about the safety of the community and the users of the Bay Trail. And I know we all use it regularly. So that's what track would like to see.
So one thing that I would like to go ahead and just let you know right now is I know that Jeff from the city is working to restore that section and get it back to what it was prior to the construction. So I know there was a little bit of damage that was done. And so that is one of the projects that will happen as they're buttoning up and leaving the project. So that is in the works.
Yeah. Well, Marcia, real quick, and I'm happy to coordinate with you and your team offline if needed, whatever. But that replaced, there was some paving damage, but it's important that the buffer, the sort of Bay Trail standard, which I know you're very familiar with, the trail, the buffer, the road goes in there, you know, per the standards which have been vetted by everyone and are there again more for safety than for beautification. But so I think you're very familiar with that, and I know you know, you guys will hopefully get back to this group and to track about what you're going to recommend around that.
We'll go ahead and bring that back when we come to the February meeting of PRNC. So we'll bring that with us.
Sounds good. That's my piece.
Okay, Marcia, it's your floor.
Okay, so basically what I wanted to do is I just wanted to hear about what issues you have with the station, besides the fact that during construction it's pretty messy. It's not looking great right now. It's not in a great safe condition, but I want to hear what things would make it look better to you, or what some of the issues are that you have with it that I can then address through the landscape design. So I'd like to just sort of open it up, and you know, if you want to raise hands, or maybe just, okay, Kim.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, to me, the project needs more than just landscaping. I believe it's been mismanaged and did not follow the original plan of the project. There's a pump that's listed as a rental pump that's out right where the road should be turning. I believe that needs to be moved in towards the hill, and the turn of the road needs to be widened and softened so that there's visibility, and so big trucks can safely make a turn there without endangering cars or people going around that corner. It's quite unsightly now, and landscaping will help that, but I believe the project is not completed, and it needs more than just landscaping at this point. Also, the road grading, there's a puddle there every time it rains, and there's no way for that to drain. It drains within a day or so, but it's full of water when you're making the turn every time there's raining, that it's draining. And I've been told that there are 2 gates that are planned for this project. And I'm not sure why there needs to be 2. Why can't there be 1 access gate and make the complete area smaller so that there's more room for traffic in our roads? So to me, it's an embarrassing entrance to our community. I believe our community contributes much more to the city coffers than we have ever gotten back in any kind of benefits. And I believe that the city should look at this financing and increase it to make this a proper project. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. Would you like me to put the plan up, or can we just, do you want to just go ahead and go through comments, or?
I'd love to see the plan.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put that up here. Oh, where did it go? There it is. So here's the site plan, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So before that, so here's Dornan Drive, here's Brickyard Cove. What I've done is I put the engineering drawing over the aerial photo, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this area right here. So you can, whoa, maybe a little bit more zoom than I should have. So this is the unit that you're talking about that's sort of sitting out in the middle of nowhere. This is that pump, let's see. And this is the turn right here that you're talking about. It's hard to see, and the turning radius isn't as good as you were hoping for. Is that what you were talking about?
No, there's a unit right where it says Radiant Brands or something like that.
Ah, okay.
Right on the corner
Right.
there, there's a hole
Right here.
and a temporary pump. And that pump should, in my opinion, should be moved and at least a plate put over or the whole thing replumbed so that the road can have a wider turning radius on the inside of the turn around that corner.
Yeah, there's this right here.
Right where the Sunbelt thing is.
Right here, yeah.
But I think there might be another view that shows it better, but it's outside of that brick wall and it seems like it's in the wrong place, from my opinion. Great.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and stop so I can see who else is okay. Brian?
Hi, this is Brian Lewis. I'm on the board of Brickyard Cove Alliance for Responsible Development, and I'm speaking for myself tonight because I think what we just want to do is get stuff out there. We'll work with the community and come back and speak with one voice. A couple of concerns. I share Kim's point about the road, the alignment. I would like to see, ideally, the track moved on the north side of Brickyard Cove Road. It will open up the view a bit more. If it could even be, and it really takes a study by a traffic engineer, landscape architect to come up with the best sight lines, what's the safest for that intersection. Right now, it appears to be the worst intersection that you could allow to be designed by chaos. And it doesn't seem to be very well structured. Graffiti. Recently, the laboratory over at Ferry Point was tagged maybe 2 weeks ago. The laboratory is made out of the same brick as the pump house is, so architecturally it matches, but it also is the wrong material to abate graffiti. And also, if there could be maybe we have a ongoing problem of dumping along Brickyard Cove Road and Dornan Road. And if cars can go in behind to the north of the pump station, it's just people will be camping out there in their campers. Perhaps there could be a low fence, a little bit what's along Miller Knox Park, that brown painted East Bay Park brown paint that they paint a low, it's probably a 2 foot tall wooden fence that prevents traffic from leaving the roadway. So this whole large area, the shoulder, that's part of the East Bay Parks, that's inviting all sorts of behavior that we do not want to see in this area. Marcia, thank you for coordinating and making notes on this.
This is Jeff Vines. I'm just going to add to
Please.
that. I think there have been some really good points made. What a question I have is the Brickyard Cove Road, as it approaches Dornan and you get to Dornan, is that road wide enough to have the track there, the Bay Trail, with sufficient distance between the road and the trail for safety on either side? I mean, I realize that there's big concrete barriers, but I'm hoping that the proper analysis has been done with measurement, et cetera, saying that yes, you can have the Bay Trail north or south with appropriate separation and a safe turn. I mean, as everybody said, it's quite terrible right now. And that has to be expanded. So that would be, somebody needs to properly evaluate from a traffic analysis perspective how it should be done properly. Thank you.
Hey, Jeff, this is Jonathan. There's 14 feet from the edge of the current CMU wall on the pump station to the edge of the road on the north side, and there's 10 feet from the edge of road to, I think, the chain link fence on the south side. So it's a little, the south side is more encumbered right now in terms of width, and that's all I know.
Right. It would be helpful to have this drawing overset the current footprint of what the new pump station. It's different from what you're showing here.
Okay, yeah. So this is the construction drawing that that the city, that the contractor is building to. So I did register it with, you can see the curb lines, I did register it. But so the points that were just made were making sure that we look at the road width, make sure that it's adequate for two-way traffic. The trail is adequate for the per standards, and then there is enough sight distance and turning distance to be able to see around this corner. This little green area here is, I just put the green area in there because that doesn't have anything on it at this point. And so one of the things that we might look at is, oops, I didn't mean to do that. One of the things we might look at doing is taking a, maybe taking this back a little bit, creating a little better radius here on the corner. That's not a circle. Sorry. And making that a little so that people can see in the short term. And then also I heard that the materials on the outside are kind of not conducive to being able to get rid of graffiti. So, okay, I'm going to stop the share for a second so I can see who else would like to speak. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Lisa?
So I think a lot of the points have been raised, and I'm just going to raise a few more that the community I've been hearing from members in the community. So I'm going to share my screen real quick to give a slightly different view of this intersection. Can people see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a little bit. So this is currently where the Bay Trail crosses, where my mouse is, and the approved final map and the vesting tentative map both put the Bay Trail here. And so when people say the north side, this is what we're talking about. The Bay Trail going here and avoiding crossing Brickyard Cove Road for safety reasons. So safer for the bicyclists, the walkers, and for the vehicles, just all around. And not having cross and steer over on the south side. And what Jonathan was discussing earlier was there's more width here. I think it's 14 feet, Jonathan, versus a smaller amount here. And there's some infrastructure equipment, which is also kind of in the way of the Bay Trail here. I think Jonathan saw when he went out there and visually looked at it. But again, that would all have to be documented, Marcia. And so ideally, the community supported this when the community backed Laconia's plan was to keep that Bay Trail congruent and then to have everybody cross right here at Dornan with, disability approved, ADA compliant, this whole intersection being compliant with ADA and to have the drainage in place. And so that is what the community is really wanting. And the concern is that we're spending taxpayer dollars to do something that potentially is going to have to get ripped up yet again if this isn't going to work properly, and then if it adversely impacts what can get developed at the Terminal 1 site. So those are some of the community's current concerns, Caesar, as far as where this money is being spent and how. And so that's why Jonathan has been repeatedly asking the city for an accounting of those contingency funds so that TRAC and the community can really understand how can we address this and what the costs would totally be to make it compliant with what the community supported and to have a safe intersection here for everybody, all the Bay Trail users, the people driving in and out of this community on a daily basis, and for emergency vehicle ingress and egress. That's another thing with that current intersection, is having emergency vehicles enter there safely at all times. And other people were talking about, I think there was plans here, Marcia, on this other side of the pump station is 2-gate access, right? One coming in here and one coming in here. And the community has a lot of concerns about stuff that happens in this dirt area up here, right? We get illegal parking, we get dumping. And does the city of Richmond and Veolia really need both gates to get there? And how can we make it just generally safe, less inviting for unwanted activity, those types of things? So Jonathan, I think, have I covered everything with that?
Did a great job.
Okay, that's it for me, Marcia. And I'll stop sharing.
Okay, this is really helpful. I'm really appreciate all the comments. Are there any additional things that people have? Yes, Kim?
I'm sorry, I have one more question. Your map shows 2 Brickyard Cove roads. Are there going to be 2 roads? One
No.
inside and one outside?
No, what I did was
Her map or this one, Kim?
Well, her map, but this one shows one on the north side of the pump station and one on the south side.
So this here is the Bay Trail, this cobblestone looking thing.
Well,
And this is Brickyard Cove Road each direction. There was some parking alongside here in this vesting tentative map.
okay, her map showed another road going inside.
yeah.
Marcia, if you want to share yours.
Yeah, basically what I did is I just overlaid on the existing. So let me do this. Let me zoom in a little bit, because what I did was I tried before, sorry. I need to get blue beam. So what I did was I started putting in these little red areas to show you, this is the area right here. That is the area you're talking about with the dumping and people stopping, etc. And then here's Dornan Drive as it goes into Brickyard. And then this is another area that this is all paved. So it's all feels paved right here. And this was the idea of, a driveway here, a driveway here, and then this area here possibly becoming something else right behind, or at least being blocked off. This, I'm going to turn this to red. This area here, this line could also be where some type of a fence or something is what you're saying. Many of you are saying we should have some kind of an edge here to keep people from parking and dumping in this zone behind. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think if the Bay Trail, so again, this comes down to funding.
Yeah.
If
Right.
the Bay Trail goes right there, it would be north of that Bay Trail on the east side of it.
Yeah.
See where that
Okay.
vehicle's parked right now?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So basically the road might be, I'm just going to block this in, just using colors just for fun. So the road would come like this, and then we'd have a Bay Trail that would go to the north of it. And I know it's not the right width. I'm just trying to show you the colors, so that it would miss the edge of the pump station. And so I think this was where you're talking about, Jonathan, in the green. That would be 14 feet to the edge of this unit here, that the Bay Trail could happen, and then the road could come into this intersection here. Is that sort of what you?
Yeah, that's what's on the BKF civil engineering drawings.
Okay.
And that's, it's pretty much laid out there. The other about a year and a half ago, I did a little schematic landscape plan that I think you may have seen, Marcia,
Yeah.
that dealt with the area in the East Bay Regional Park land that's northeast of the site. And the idea with that was try to work with East Bay Regional Parks to landscape, berm that and landscape it so nobody can drive there, dump there, and it would be a landscape solution instead of fences. And if there's any way you can put that on your list of things to do to talk to East Bay Regional Parks to see if we could get an agreement or some sort of idea to work together on that, that would be great.
Okay.
Hey,
The-
People have got their hands raised. Marcia, I'm going to get Susan first, then John.
Sure.
Susan, go off mute, Susan.
Maybe you have to be on video.
Okay.
Good evening, Susan Hubbard, resident of Brickyard Cove, Seacliff area, and B-Card Steering Committee. I'm going to go back to Kim's original issues. The road is not safe at this point. The intersection is not safe. And larger trucks are having to back up and try and get around. And landscaping is wonderful, but the problem is there's more problems than landscaping can fix.
Wait, what's it?
And I don't, I'm not an expert on that. Yes, we need a traffic engineer or somebody qualified to look at that intersection. But right now, it's certainly unsafe. And again, there's water sitting every time it rains, as Kim said. But it seems it's difficult to see. If you're coming on Brickyard Cove Road to turn right onto Dornan, it's difficult to see. And, you're also worried about somebody coming down Dornan and turning left and running into you because it's narrow there. So I don't know what the solution is, but it's not just landscaping.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. And you're on mute, John. Okay, great.
Thank you. My name is John Gullett. Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
You were, but okay, good.
Okay. My name is John Gullett. I'm a homeowner and resident in Point Richmond. And I'm very much in alignment with the comments made by others. I think we have a serious issue here that's more than one can necessarily address with landscaping. I would say that's a little bit like trying to put lipstick on a pig. Now, in addition to the things that other people have said, I would just like to add that there's quite a bit of danger currently, traffic-wise, and some of it's contributed to by strobe lights flashing up and down where there really is no need for them, and very poor concept of lighting. And I think that needs to be addressed urgently along with the traffic issue. But the other issues are very real and need to be dealt with. And I don't think they're going to be dealt with sufficiently by just dressing it up. Thank you.
And I'm not offended by it being just landscape, honestly. I do understand. I do understand that we need to look at the big picture here.
I was speaking in a relative sense, relative to the scale of the problem.
Yes, absolutely, I know.
I'm a great fan of landscaping and think it's essential part of any project. But here, building the project and then adding the landscape as an afterthought is far from my idea of how to proceed with landscaping. And I bet you probably would like it otherwise as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Anybody else? Jeff and Andrea?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Beth.
So, hi
What
there,
is that?
sorry. Andrea Shuk is here. Hi.
Yeah. Speak up, Andrea.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi there. I think you guys have really covered a lot. By the way, Jeff and Andrea Shukas, HOA2, Sandpiper Spit. So we're just kind of representing ourselves, of course, but we've also been talking with our neighbors. We're a small community, so there's a lot of these same kinds of conversations that have been happening. And so we just wanted to sort of support a lot of the decisions, or a lot of actually the conversations that you've been having here, as we've kind of run into the same things, and we personally feel strongly about it too. The one thing that's really tough is that 90-degree turn that everyone's talking about, and when the trucks can't get around, it's a really strange turn to make, and especially when we have visitors and things, people are saying, "What's going on there?" It's really hard to navigate through there in the dark, and so we've had a lot of feedback on that as well, and we just wanted to share that with everyone. And we're actually really thankful that this conversation's being had, because we've been all complaining under our breath for a long time about this project. And thank you all for just getting everybody together and just to kind of come up with some better solutions around this area where we're all going back and forth many times during the day on. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Can you hear us? Can you hear
Yes,
us?
is that Pat Armour?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
My concern is that I don't know if it's a pump or that big unit that sits on top of something that's above the wall. It just, that to me is like a really serious problem. I don't understand why you have a wall and then you have the equipment looming up above it. And so that's one thing. And the second thing is the Bay Trail. And the third thing is that turn. So, but that thing above the wall, is anybody dealing with that?
Yeah, that was one of the things I had heard in early conversations before our meeting, is that, that is something that we need to look at, either look at screening in some fashion. So, okay.
Screening or moving it? Can you move it?
Or moving, that I'm not able to say that, but one of the things that we can do is we could potentially put some kind of a green wall or green screen in front of it. But I'm going to have to go back to the city with all the comments and see how much change I can affect based on the comments. So
Yeah, I love the idea of the landscaping in lieu of the fencing. I think that was a great idea of Jonathan's. And also, do you have any idea on the timeline on this? I mean, I don't know how long this has been going on, but it feels like years.
What I'll do is I will get the timeline, and the other thing I'll do is I'm going to compile the meeting minutes or what I've heard from you, and I will try and get some of the documentation so that we can send that out to the PRNC to be distributed to the members. And the schedule would be one, and then the things that we've heard will be another. So thanks for.
And then I
for
had one
bringing
other
that up.
question. Do you know what the proposal is for Dornan Drive? Are they going to repave that, or is that going to stay the way it is? Do you have any idea on that
I
one?
don't, but I'll ask and get back to you.
Okay. Okay.
Paving when?
It is supposed to, our understanding is that at least the road damage is supposed to be repaired as part of the contract. But again, we have a Public Record Act request that's outstanding. Nothing's been supplied for months, Caesar.
Does anybody know when this project actually started?
You know what? I don't, but that's another thing I will check. I'll get the timeline for you.
I know that
Okay.
communication to the city and many concerns started in February, a minimum February of last year.
February of last year.
Correct.
Yeah, it feels like it.
But I don't know when the project started relative to that. That's when everybody started noticing that it was very pear-shaped.
It just feels like it's been there for like that forever. Okay, great. You know what? And we really appreciate that this meeting is happening. It's wonderful.
Good, I'm glad. There was something in the chat. Isabel, I agree with Pat that the equipment being visible over the top of the wall is very ugly. I was shocked when I walked by and noticed that design. So I'll make sure that is double noted. Let's see, I'm not seeing any additional hands. Let's see.
Yeah, this is Rod Satry. I'm
Rod.
trying to figure out where to put my hand up, but I'll just say my hand's up.
Okay.
Two things. One, when there's maintenance on that, we need to make sure that one or two trucks can fit within the boundaries of the pumping station. The other one is a lot of times you can screen things by just painting them a color that matches up with the background.
Oh, you
So
mean like
that-
the brown tanks, do you?
Right, right.
Okay,
Yeah, and then, a lot of people put up
yeah,
screening walls, that sort of thing, that
okay,
maybe a slightly visible fence, but I'm worried about truck drivers going by there
sure.
and having a taller barrier, not even being able to see around the corner when they try to make that corner.
Okay.
So, yeah, why it had to be exactly where it is and cut off that street the way it is just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. One of the things I was thinking about when I was looking at it is because the old station was there, and it's probably because, using the same lines and things like that, but I'll find out. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah,
just
this is Jonathan. I haven't,
Okay.
there's no hand raising thing on my,
On your
Yeah.
iPhone too? Hey, your
yeah,
iPhone too?
so I'll jump in there if it's okay, or I can
Sure,
wait.
please. And then Pat is
Oh,
after you.
Okay, sorry about that, Pat.
That's okay.
Yeah, this is Jonathan Livingston. Marcia, I wonder if you could make note that and put a request in for, I think there's been a couple of comments also about closing off one of the entrances. If we close off the southern entrance, and I looked over the fence, there's no functional reason that I could see why we can't close that off. Because when you go down Brickyard Cove Road in a western direction, you're going to look right into that gate, into a bunch of pipes and garbage. So it would seem to me that if we could get your landscape screened and put it and continue that wall, we'd eliminate a lot of blight right there.
Okay.
And also with the pump, with that generator, that Generac sits up about 4.5 feet above the top of that wall, but it needs to be screened on 3 sides, because just screening it from the front, you're still going to see it as you approach down Dornan, the southerly direction, or if you're coming down Brickyard Cove Road, you'll see it in 3 sides. You're going to be able to see it. So the screening needs to wrap around that, and there's also a couple of lights in there. A couple of lights that the city agreed to not put in, but they put them in anyway. But the lights are going to be a real problem for that intersection safety. And they were supposed to be behind the wall, but they're sticking up above the wall. So if we could screen those as well or drop them, that would be, I think, really help the safety of that intersection at night. Not looking into some bright LED lights that we're not going to have any control over whether they're screened or not properly. So that's another issue. I think I agree with everything else everybody said. If there's any way you can work with East Bay Regional Parks, Marcia, to try to do something up to the north, it'd be great. And I look forward to seeing some of your ideas. I mentioned to the city, I'd be happy to work with you pro bono on the screening. If you need some help on that, I'd be happy to do that. Certainly been involved in this thing a lot, and certainly want to see it through. Yeah, thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.
Okay,
The other
John's
thing
got
I
his hand up.
Okay, one thing that I forgot to mention, and maybe Andrew didn't hear or didn't remember, is that there's some signs that were moved that need to be put back for the Bay Trail as well.
I'm sorry. One more thing, Marcia. I'm sorry. I really am. Marcia, is there any way that you can use your contact with the city to find out how much is left in the contingency fund? So, maybe there was $340,000 in there, according to Veolia about a month ago, and that may have been a misprint. Certainly don't know, but if we could find out how much money's available, a lot of these problems could go away. And so please see if you can find out and get an accurate accounting. Just don't take someone's word for it. You want to see the contract and see how much has been paid out. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, Pat was next, and then John.
Well, I just had a question, and I think Jonathan might have an idea on this. As far as that generator being exposed the way it is, I would think it would be to prolong the life of something, it would be better to have it housed actually inside something. So the fact that they're building this and it's going to be completely exposed doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but maybe it has to do with the kind of, the materials that they're using, that it doesn't make a difference. So I don't know if Jonathan has any input on that or.
Yeah, I researched that generator, and it comes complete with its own little jacket around it. The only thing that could really change would be to put the muffler down instead of up into everybody's face. That would help.
So you don't think that's a problem that it's sitting outside?
No, it's designed that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You mean outside the fence or outside?
No,
in
just,
the
You know,
elements?
exposed to the elements.
Ah, got it. Okay. Okay. All right. John?
Thank you. There just is one thought that occurred to me, and it seems, looking at the view that you have up right now, there seems to be a significant problem of right-of-way dimension. And it happens that I believe the city is the abutter and owns the adjacent property, which it seeks to develop. And the developable part of the property is at some distance from this part. And it might be that some additional roadway could be acquired from the city there.
Okay, good. All right. Great. Now,
Thanks.
was there another person that had their hand
That's
up?
just me, Marcia. And
Okay.
I'm showing this view because so this is the current Bay Trail, right? That's kind of been all mucked up. And there's these infrastructure boxes. I don't know, Jonathan, what all those boxes are, but I'm showing that picture that shows some of the infrastructure that if the road was to move this way and you had the Bay Trail coming here on the north side of the road, or if the Bay Trail came in here, there's these, if it had to get moved over, this is a problem, right? These infrastructure requirements in there. So the Bay Trail couldn't really get shifted over that much more because of that. Correct, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's right. There's actually 24 feet right now between curb to curb, which is the the right dimension in terms of city standards. And the only issue, and the Bay Trail, there's a PG&E splice box right in the middle of that Bay Trail. It's up 8 inches, so that's going to have to be filled and have to put a curb there so you can get over the splice box. There's a lot of garbage in that Bay Trail right now that needs to get taken care of so it's safe.
Okay. All right. Let's see if, Lisa, if you would stop share. Okay.
And John had his hand up, and
Okay.
then Lisa.
Okay. I think, John, you talked about the possibly expanding into the right of way along the Terminal 1.
Yes, I don't see a little bit of infrastructure as a major problem when we're talking about its safety in a roadway.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. All
The
right.
biggest problem, John, is that the city doesn't own that right now. The developer still owns it and is refusing to give it back.
Okay.
Terminal 1?
Hey, Daniel, Andrew, this is Jonathan. There's a public easement right there that this whole road goes over, and it's an easement that Laconia has given the city, so it's quite a big easement, so it probably could happen.
Got you. So you're saying there's a public right of way there or an easement adjacent to the street? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much that whole street is on Laconia's property, but then there's this right of way that's been granted, so you can see it on the civil engineer's drawings.
Gotcha.
I don't know what page, but it's in there.
Okay, that sounds good.
that's interesting.
Sorry.
Okay, there is one thing that I know from utility things would be if somebody's working on those utilities, they'd tear up the path, the public pathway, and that could be for a month or two. So if we do sit over that, we have to recognize that we might have Bay Trails is shut down for an indeterminate amount of time.
Okay.
That level, that portion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this has been very, very enlightening and very helpful. All the comments, I'm going to write them out. I'm going to get the information as much as possible to be able to get that back to the PRNC. And then at the February meeting, I will come back with some alternatives and ideas. If there's any, because of the comments, if there are any modifications or changes to that schedule, I'll let you know immediately, because I intend to meet with the city tomorrow about the meeting this evening, and getting them all this information, and then seeing if we can take a broader look. And let's see, the PRNC meeting is the latter part of February, correct? I can't remember the date. Do you have the date?
Last
Wednesday.
February. So that is
Yeah,
February
Wednesday.
28th. February
Okay.
28th.
28th. Okay, that does give me a little bit of time. Okay, that's helpful. All right. Well, thank you all so much for spending your evening with me. Like I said, I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and I'll speak with the city tomorrow and start getting the ball rolling for some solutions. And if you have any additional comments or questions, how does the Point Richmond Neighborhood Council want to handle additional questions or comments? Can they give them to the council or the land use committee, or would you like them to give them to me? From a PRNC standpoint, how do you want to handle that?
Yeah, I'd like Marcia to get this feedback as quickly as possible so I don't filter or be essentially a gatekeeper, but you can copy me, and we have a PRNC land use. I have an email address. Marcia has it already, because that's how we've been communicating, setting up this meeting. So that works.
Okay. All right. So if you or your neighbors have additional comments, I'm just right at 121 Park Place. And if I'm not there, there's civil engineers, there's other landscape architects there. So just drop comments by, or my email is mvallier, which is V as in Victor, ALLIER at CSWST2. And I'll put that in the chat. There we go. Thank you, Lisa. She is so fast. And you can send me comments, and I will gather those and put those also with the meeting minutes from this evening.
Oh,
So,
I got that wrong. CSW. I will fix that because it's
CSWST2.
.com.
Yeah, that thing.
Thank you for everyone for participating. And if we don't have any more questions, we can all sign off.
Hey, Rod, thank you. It's Jonathan. Thank you,
Thank you
Marcia,
all.
Rod.
Really appreciate you taking care of this. Really appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Marcia,
Bye.
Good
night. Good
Marcia,
night.
I put the link
Oh,
on there.
great.
If you want to go back to the video, I'll send it to you via
Thank
email.
you.
But
Please
the
do.
videos are all at the Point Richmond Neighborhood Council.
Thank you. That's perfect. I'll make sure the city
Oh,
sees.
yeah. Charmaine, can you talk to Bonnie for a minute?
Thank you. All right. Bye, everybody.
Oh, do you guys want me to leave the Zoom open?
Yes, please.
Just for a second. Yeah. Charmaine, do you have to write a report on this?
No, we're not.
Oh, Charmaine, do you have to write a report on this?
Eileen.
She's muted.
You're muted.
I've been taking minutes, and I'm happy to submit to you in the next couple of days.
Well,
The
no,
minutes
I
of the
just
meeting.
didn't know if you needed any, help on remembering any of it or anything. Because there was a
No,
lot
I
of stuff.
kind of wrote it
talked
all
about.
down as we went, so.
Oh, well, yeah, you're really good at that, so. So how have you been?
Oh, great. Actually, good, yeah. How about
Good,
you?
good. We're fine, we're fine.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
nice
we're
to
taking
meet
up
you.
Leisha's Zoom time.
Yeah,
So-
we're taking up Alicia's time. We better get
Okay,
off.
thank you, Leisha.